You're listening to Geek on the Mic, a Chicago Bears podcast pregame show. This podcast starts right now.
All right, Bears fans, football is officially back. We are finally set for week one matchup against the Green Bay Packers. Once again, I'm joined with my wonderful co-host, Isaiah Frey. How you doing, Isaiah?
Doing good. How you doing?
How are you feeling right now about this matchup with the Green Bay Packers?
I'm feeling good, man. You know, I think this is a chance to start the season off right, and what better way to do it than against your rivalry?
Right, absolutely. And, you know, before we go any further with today's episode of Geek on the Mic, I just want to give a huge shout out for Isaiah rocking the Geek on the Mic gear, you know, the new Geeks on the Mic shirts. Obviously, I'm doing a massive giveaway this Sunday where I'm going to have a bunch of winners. Once again, thank you guys so much for entering the giveaway and showing me the support and love of Geek on the Mic. But make sure you get the Geek on the Mic hats, Geek on the Mic shirts. Isaiah says it feels really good material, so I'm happy about that. So now, Isaiah, you can rock the gear with me on these episodes.
Man, let's do it, man. I got the threads on. I'm ready to go.
All right, that's perfect. Yeah, so a little bit of game summary between the Bears versus the Packers in this week one matchup. Obviously, the Bears have not beaten the Green Bay Packers since 2018. That's when the Bears won the NFC North. Aaron Rodgers is now gone. Jordan Love is now in. Obviously, that's a big storyline going into this matchup. Justin Fields is 0-4 against the Green Bay Packers, so I feel like it's a good time for him to kind of shift that tide a little bit. And then lots to prove this year for Justin Fields in this pivotal matchup to start out with the Green Bay Packers. So there's a whole bunch of storylines, but I'm obviously really looking forward to this matchup. I know for the longest time, people are kind of overlooking the Green Bay Packers because of Aaron Rodgers being gone, but this is still a pretty stacked unit, especially when you look on the defense side of the ball. So I'm definitely not overlooking the Green Bay Packers, but I definitely feel like this is a game that the Bears can win.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, anytime you take Aaron Rodgers off a team, you're going to have, your struggles in the beginning. But like you said, man, they still got a good roster. They still got a good defense. They still got, some good skill positions. Still got Aaron Jones who can run the rock.
Absolutely.
You got A.J. Dillon. So it's nothing to go in there and take lightly. At the end of the day, man, it's a rival. You got to come in there and anything in the game with a rivalry, man, anything can happen. So you better be ready to go.
Yeah, and I want the Bears to go into this matchup and take it personal, right? Because all those years, all those beatdowns the Bears have taken from the Green Bay Packers, you need to go in there and play them like they still have Aaron Rodgers. And I think that's the big storyline, is that obviously now Jordan Love has the pressure to come in and try to be the new owner of the Chicago Bears. So there's a lot of pressure on him, but the Bears need to go in there and focus and handle business, because I still think there's a lot of people still taking the Green Bay Packers in this matchup because of the past, right?
It's crazy because this is a very important game, more than people think. It's because it's a mental thing as well, right?
Yeah.
All those years we played Aaron Rodgers, he had the mental edge over us, man. He had all those wins. So what better way to start Jordan Love's era off with a loss to let him know what is going to come in the future. So you can't give this man any confidence in the beginning. Let him know that, this is a different era and we got to get this win first.
Right. And going off your point with like that mental edge with Aaron Rodgers, and that's a true statement that you just brought up, because there was games like, especially last year, the Bears were beating the Green Bay Packers 17-3 at one point, and we still lost the football game.
Yes.
That's the effect that Aaron Rodgers had on that football team, that they were never out of it, right? But now with Jordan Love coming in, I think it is a really good point that you brought up, that you need to send the message right away saying, hey, you are not going to be the new owner of the Chicago Bears. Yeah. Now it's Justin Fields and Chicago Bears time to own this rivalry.
Definitely. I can go back to when I was playing in 2013. We beat him there in Lambeau, and one of the main reasons why we beat him is because he got hurt.
Right.
And then he came back in for the NFC North championship game, and we ended up losing on a last second Hail Mary. But yeah, that mental thing it's a real thing.
Yeah, there's two things that I really love about what you just brought up. You were actually part of that picture. I feel like it was Shea McClellan that got the sack, but you were also involved in the picture of Aaron Rodgers getting hurt or something like that. Love that picture so much. I'm probably got to put it up on this podcast so people can see it. But I still remember that game, even being really young. It was an iconic game because I believe that was also the game. I'm not sure if I'm mistaken. Was that the game that they were retiring Brett Favre's jersey, or was that a different game?
That might have been a different game. I can't remember, quite honestly. It may have been. We never get to see it though when we're in the locker room most of the time. It may have been, honestly. I can't remember. I just remember going in the game and it being close for a minute, and then he got hurt, and then we didn't feel any type of pressure after that.
Right. I also remember in 2018, Matt Nagy's first game as Chicago Bears head coach. The Bears are winning the game 20-0. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. He comes back out looking like the Karate Kid, that scene where he goes back, gets the treatment. He comes out on one leg and comes back and beats the Chicago Bears. Once again, he definitely had a mental effect on the Chicago Bears organization.
He did. I can't even deny it, man. It was
right. Right. Now, Isaiah, we're going to look at some key injuries for both the Bears and the Green Bay Packers. Starting off with the Green Bay Packers, some big news out of Green Bay is that both their top two wide receivers came up on the injury report this week with hamstring issues. So both Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs have hamstring issues. So I'm not sure what their status is looking like for the game. I'm guessing they're going to be okay, but you never know with hamstring issues. And then, of course, Edge Rashawn Gary is coming back from that ACL injury as well. That's also a big thing. I think he is going to play, but he's probably going to be kind of on a snap count, which is pretty good news for our young right tackle in Darnell Wright. Then obviously looking at the Chicago Bears, Jaquan Brisker is back. He was in full pads. He should be ready to go. He was dealing with a groin injury. We have linebacker Dylan Cole with a hamstring. I'm not sure if he's going to play. Both Eddie Jackson and DeMarcus Walker also look good and ready to go as well. What's the biggest takeaways from those injuries for both the Bears and the Packers?
The two receivers being out. They were two rookies last year. I got some good reps in. They're going to be better. Romeo Doubs, shout out Nevada product. I got to give him a shout out.
That's right. That's right.
Yep. But, that's big because they got a year under the belt, and they're going to be kind of the safety net for Jordan Love in the beginning. So if they're not 100% going into game one, that's an advantage for the Bears, who have a very good secondary that's gotten kind of the same type of reps the year before. So it should be a good matchup if they were both healthy. But if Watson and Doubs aren't healthy, I'm giving the advantage to the Bears secondary.
Absolutely. And if the Packers are without Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, they are going to be left with the rookie tight end, Luke Musgrave, which he's looked excellent in the preseason. And they're also going to be left with the second-round receiver. I believe his name's Jaden Reed. Also looks pretty impressive in the preseason as well, but looked impressive, but the experience is still not there. So that's definitely going to be tough for Jordan Love, but it definitely makes the Bears game plan a whole lot easier. Just try to stop that two-headed monster in Green Bay.
Definitely. It's going to be an adjustment for them. Regular season and preseason are completely different speed.
Yes.
You don't know that until you get out there and you're playing. So I can see them in the first half struggling just for that simple fact right there, and then probably, kind of getting their feet underneath them after that. But it's going to be an adjustment, man. That regular season speed is completely different.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So, Isaiah, let's move on to some key matchups. What do you have for us for this Bears versus Packers Week 1 matchup?
My first main matchup is actually our D-line versus their O-line. I think it's a big matchup. We have to be able to get pressure on Jordan Love. Got to make him uncomfortable in the pocket. Can't give him time to kind of dissect what's going on. Make it uneasy for him, especially in the first half, just so he's not out there being able to see things as easily as he wants to. That's probably one of the main matchups I have right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think that's one of the strengths for the Green Bay Packers is their trenches, both on their D-line and offensive line. They have very good lines, and I think that's why Green Bay, in some sense, is being still favored over the Chicago Bears, because you do win a lot of games in the trenches as well. So I definitely agree with your point. But we do have to get pressure on Jordan Love. We have to make it tough for him. This is technically his first career start. I know he's played some games in the past, but this is his first legit start as QB1 in Green Bay. So yeah, I think getting pressure on him is going to be a must for the Bears.
Definitely.
Yeah, so Isaiah, mine is going to be DJ Moore versus Jair Alexander. I think it's such an intriguing matchup looking at these two guys. Alexander has given the Chicago Bears headaches for years. He has 3 interceptions versus the Bears in his career. But when you look at DJ Moore, this is a different animal in DJ Moore. This is going to be a tough test for Jair Alexander. I think it's going to be iron sharpening iron. When you look at DJ Moore, he's a great route runner and he is fast. In 2 career games against the Green Bay Packers, Moore has 15 catches for 251 yards. So he has found success against the Green Bay Packers secondary. And when he lined up against Jair Alexander, he has 5 catches for 69 yards. So I expect Alexander to make some plays, but I definitely expect DJ Moore to make some plays as well.
Definitely. He's a ball hawk, man. He's a great corner. Definitely been impressed with him up to this point in his career. So Justin he has to be careful throwing his way. He's definitely going to be able to sit back and kind of read routes and understand what's going on. But, like you said, DJ's a great receiver, and I expect that to be a very very fun matchup to watch during the game.
Yeah, even when you look at last year's matchup, that second matchup against the Green Bay Packers, we got the best of Jair Alexander a couple of times. EQ had a nice route on him where Justin Fields hit him deep, but Jair Alexander also got an interception on Justin Fields in that same game. So a part of playing the corner position, you have to have a short-term memory, right? And he definitely has that, and he's definitely a ball hawk, like you mentioned. I mean, he's always going to be around the football, so Justin Fields definitely has to be careful about Jair Alexander on the field. You have any other key matchups for us, Isaiah?
You know, I think that was probably the second one I was going to bring up was DJ Moore versus Jair Alexander, and then also you know, our DBs versus their receivers, Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson, depending on if they play or not. It's going to be big, man.
Yeah.
You can't Jordan Love anytime to kind of understand what's going on, like I said earlier, and you got to make it uncomfortable for Romeo and Christian Watson. So I expect them to go out there and play good because, you know, towards the end of the season, they're actually playing really well.
Absolutely.
Young crew.
Yeah, and, you know, it's going to be, if they do play, Tyreek Stevenson, Jalen Johnson, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson. What a matchup between a bunch of young developing guys in this NFL league, right? So I think I hope they're okay. I definitely want everyone to play. I want everyone to be healthy because I don't want any excuses for this matchup, right? But I think that's definitely something to keep an eye on if they actually do play.
Definitely. I agree.
My second key matchup, Isaiah, is Kenny Clark versus the Bears' interior offensive line. And this is when the Bears are really going to miss a guy like Tevin Jenkins. Obviously, Tevin Jenkins was placed on IR. He'll miss the first 4 games of the Chicago Bears season. So now guys like Cody Whitehair, Lucas Patrick, and Nate Davis really have a tough task ahead of them blocking a guy like Kenny Clark. Much like Jair Alexander, Kenny Clark has given the Chicago Bears fits for years, right? In their 6-game winning streak over the Chicago Bears since the last Chicago Bears win over the Green Bay Packers, Kenny Clark is a big reason why we have trouble beating the Green Bay Packers, right? He has 4.5 sacks in that 6-game winning streak over the Chicago Bears. He is just a menace. He's tough to block. It's hard to run on the inside on him as well. So hopefully the Chicago Bears and the interior offensive line can try to do their best to not only give Justin Fields time, but hopefully we can run the ball effectively as well.
Yeah, they're definitely going to slide over to Kenny Clark. Kenny has really good hands.
Yes.
And for you to be successful with him, man, you're going to have to get help by your interior lineman, but then you're also going to have to be able to get in your set early enough to kind of shock him off his route. So being able to make sure that he's not getting into motion and using his hands to get off blocks is the key to stopping him. Yeah,
and for me personally, Isaiah, I think Lucas Patrick is obviously an upgrade over Sam Musford. You know how I feel about Sam Musford, right? We have a lot of talks about this last season, but I still don't trust Lucas Patrick. The guy can't stay healthy. I'd be very surprised if he could play more than 1 drive, to be quite honest, because he just struggles staying healthy. When he's in the game, he's decent. He's an upgrade over Sam Musford, but I still don't trust the guy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to wait and see if he's going to be able to make it through the game. But like you said, yeah, that's a big thing to watch.
Yeah, either way, I think it's going to be a tough task. Kenny Clark is an excellent player in NFL, so it's definitely something to keep an eye on in this Packers-Bears Week 1 matchup. So, Isaiah, now we're going to move on to some X factors for this Week 1 matchup. What do you got for us?
So one of my X factors is Khalil Herbert. I think he is somebody that can blow the game open if he's playing successful. He's now the starter, not coming off the bench with Montgomery gone now, so looking for him to have a big game and take the pressure off of Justin Fields.
Yeah, and I think the Chicago Bears, you know, we're talking about the Green Bay Packers having a 2-headed monster. I think the Chicago Bears have a 3-headed monster in that backfield, right? So, of course, we have Khalil Herbert. I'm also really excited to see Roschon Johnson. The dude is able to break tackles, get yards after contact as well. Then don't forget about Deontay Foreman as well. So I think they're going to use all the backs to their advantage in the Chicago Bears offense. I think they're all going to be able to help Justin Fields as well within this offense.
Right, I agree.
So one of my X factors, I got to give, I'll just give you 2 right here. I got to give it to both quarterbacks, Jordan Love versus Justin Fields. To me, that's what it comes down to. When you look at Jordan Love, once again, I already mentioned it at the beginning of this podcast, Aaron Rodgers out, Jordan Love is in. To me, he has a whole lot of pressure. Chicago is not an easy place to play. Aaron Rodgers even admitted it, that even though he had success and dominated the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field, he still said it was one of the toughest places he ever had to play. So now Jordan Love has the pressure to come in, and the expectation from Packers fans to keep this dominance going over the Chicago Bears. That's a lot for a young kid, right? And Jordan Love that doesn't have a lot of game experience. So I'm interested to see how he handles that pressure.
That's a good point you brought up. That you got to take into account the pressure that he has on him for all the success that Aaron Rodgers has had against Chicago. They're going to be expecting the same results, and quite honestly, you can't. That's too much pressure for a young kid who hasn't really played yet. So that's going to be a big thing in the game. That's something I didn't even think about, but it's for sure. It's for sure a thing.
Absolutely. It's tall shoes to fill. Aaron Rodgers, we mentioned already, he just did Aaron Rodgers thing. It didn't matter if you were up 20-0 or 40-0. You were always in the game. He was going to find a way to get that Green Bay Packers football team back into the game. And now Jordan Love is set with the task to try to do the same thing, because that's what Packers fans expect, because you went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. Now, can Jordan Love be the next Hall of Fame quarterback for the Green Bay Packers? It's a lot of pressure for a young kid.
It is a lot of pressure. But the one thing Green Bay can appreciate is they haven't had too much turnover at the quarterback position, man. They should be very happy with what they did for the last 20 years. So 25 years, I say, dang. But yeah.
It's funny because what Bears fans always say about that, they have 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, but only 2 rings to show for it. I think, to me, when you look at that, it's like, man, I feel like the Green Bay Packers could have won a whole lot more.
Yeah, they should have. There was a couple times where they kind of blew it towards the end in the NFC Championship, but 2 rings is better than none. So yeah,
exactly. There's a lot of teams that don't have any, right? So, you have any more X factors for us, Isaiah?
No, those are the main ones. I mean, I would like to say Chase Claypool. He's actually a big X factor just because the attention is going to be on DJ Moore. And then once Chase is one-on-one with somebody, man, he can get past him. He's a big dude. Yeah. So look for him to kind of get a lot of balls thrown his way just because he's the second guy out there on the offense.
Yeah, we bring up DJ Moore a lot, but something I've always brought up on the podcast, Isaiah, is that DJ Moore is going to help guys like Chase Claypool, like Darnell Mooney. But keep a close eye on the young rookie, Tyler Scott. Okay. There's going to be some opportunities for him. He's fast. He can probably get over the top of that secondary, especially if he's on one-on-one coverage. He was doing it all offseason long. I'm excited to see Tyler Scott play, but I also think Chase Claypool is definitely a guy, like you mentioned, to keep a close eye on. If he has some one-on-one matchups, I think Chase Claypool is good enough to win some of those matchups as well. So you can go ahead and try to bracket DJ Moore. That's probably not the best case scenario in terms of how the Green Bay Packers want to try to defend this Bears offense.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's going to be tough for them. They have 3 guys who can play out there on the outside. So for them to go in there and double or bracket DJ Moore, I just don't think it's possible.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So Isaiah, one of my other X factors is Justin Fields. I did mention that him along with Jordan Love. I think it comes down to the quarterbacks always, Jordan Love versus Justin Fields. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, Justin Fields' last game versus Green Bay, he had 254 passing yards, 74 rushing yards. I'm pretty sure you remember that nice run where he had a nice cut, took off on the Green Bay defense. One of his highlight plays from last season. Also had a rushing TD, but he did throw 2 costly interceptions as well. But when I look at a guy like Justin Fields, all offseason long, all Ryan Poles did was build around Justin Fields. So to me, there's absolutely no more excuses. To me, this is no longer a development year. Last year was that, Isaiah. We can admit.
Right.
Last year was development year. But this year, no more excuses for Justin Fields. He has better weapons, should have better protection, and he should be far more comfortable and confident, have more command in this offense going into year 2 under offensive coordinator Luke Getsy. So to me, this is the time, Justin Fields, to go in there and be like, you know what? No more dominance over the Chicago Bears. I'm going to become your new owner now, right? That's how I kind of look at it. So no more excuses for Justin Fields for me.
Yeah, this is the time to go in there, take the crown, put it on his head, say I'm the king of the North. This is what this game's about this weekend.
Right, and remember what Ryan Poles said when he came in and took the job. He said, we're going to take the North and never give it back, right? Yeah. And that's what he's been trying to build. And kudos to Ryan Poles, because to me, the rebuild is still not done, right? He's still going to continue to build, make this team better. But in 2 off seasons, this team, to me, has a chance to legitimately compete, not for a Super Bowl, obviously, but legitimately compete, not only in the division, but possibly maybe for a wild card spot.
Right. Oh, definitely. I think that's definitely a possibility. And a big step to that is winning this weekend.
Yes.
That give them all the confidence in the world to achieve that goal.
Yeah. And Speaking of winning this weekend, Isaiah, what are 3 keys to a Chicago Bears win over the Green Bay Packers? Something they haven't done in a long time.
I think the first key of the game is not allowing big plays on the defensive side of the ball, making sure Jordan Love doesn't get any type of confidence throwing that rock. So whether Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs is playing or not, they got to have the mentality of bend, don't break. You know, they may get some check downs here and there, you rally and tackle, but at the end of the day, if they're kicking field goals and you're creating turnovers, you'll win the game automatically. So that's one of the big keys to this game.
Okay, how about the other 2?
So 2 is establishing the run game, making sure that three-headed monster, as you mentioned, is churning, making sure that they're taking the pressure off of Justin. Yep. And then 3rd is obviously keeping Justin Fields clean. That's your guys. That's the way you make the motor go. So we're going to make sure that he's clean and able to push the ball downfield.
Yeah, the one big thing I want to bring up about your 3 keys to a Bears win is, obviously keeping Justin Fields clean. I think obviously the loss of Tevin Jenkins definitely hurts, but I still think Ryan Poles has done enough to that offensive line to give Justin Fields time to throw. Nate Davis, Darnell Wright, you still have Cody Whitehair and Braxton Jones. The only spot where I'm kind of like, is Lucas Patrick at center, but even Lucas Patrick is an upgrade over Sam Mustipher. If Justin Fields, and this is how I feel about any quarterback, if Justin Fields has time to throw, it's going to be a long day for that Green Bay secondary. And that's not even a bold prediction. That's just a straight fact. That's something that's going to happen. If he has time, it's going to be a long day for Green Bay secondary.
Well, I think Luke Getsy does a great job of getting him out of the pocket and it keeps him protected because his legs take care of him at times. And then also to mention your point about the center, that's the most protected position on the offensive line. So it shouldn't be too much to worry about. Obviously Sam is not there no more, so I think they'll be okay. What they have this weekend.
Isaiah and I loved Sam Mustipher, didn't we?
Yeah. Sam had a rough one last year, man. It happens to the best of us.
Right. It does. It is what it is. He's gone now. It's in the past, right? Yeah. But Isaiah, the time has come. This is our favorite part of any pregame show that we do. Give me a prediction: Bears or Packers?
Bears for sure. I picked them last week. I'm going Bears. I'm going with the score. I'm going 24-10.
Let's go. 24-10. So you have them winning by 10 plus, obviously. Isaiah, I'm in total agreement with you. I think the Bears can beat the Green Bay Packers by 10 plus. I really do. I think, when you look at the depth charts on paper, a lot of people are saying that the Green Bay Packers are better on paper. But to me, I just can't see why they think that. I think the Chicago Bears are revamped. Justin Fields will take that next step forward, especially as a passer. And I think he shows it in this week 1 matchup against the Green Bay Packers. I have the Bears winning 27-17 week 1 to start the season right at Soldier Field in Chicago.
I like it. That was my second guess, and I think that's what's going to happen.
And this year, we're going to be right with our predictions, too. There's not going to be, we pick a score and it's reversed. No. I think it's going to be a lot better year for the Chicago Bears. I'm super excited that football is finally back.
Yeah, we'll be a lot more happier going through the season than we were last year. Every episode it started going,
Exactly.
Started happy at the end. We realized you can get the number 1 pick, so it kind of.
That was funny how that worked, right? Yeah. So Isaiah, once again, thank you so much for coming on, joining me for the week 1 pregame show, Bears versus Packers. This is going to be a full season long thing. And we may have some special guests to join us here or there during the season. But once again, thank you so much for joining me for another pregame show right here on Keek on the Mic.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
And as always, Isaiah, bear down to you.
Bear down.
You've been listening to Keek on the Mic, a podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Thanks, guys, and bear down.